3 fantastic seasons full of conversations and learnings, we are now back today kicking off season 4 of the We Talk series. We are set for another round of thought-provoking interactions with HR leaders who are donning the change makers hat at their respective organizations. For those who are joining us for the first time today, We Talk brings to you the most prominent industry voices as they share their precious experiences and insights on and around the HR ecosystem. To spearhead today's first episode, joining us is Ms. Shilpa Pai, Vice President and Global Head Human Resources at 3i Infotech. A brief introduction about Shilpa before we start our conversation. So Shilpa is a passionate HR leader with a proven track record of building business-focused HR practices and teams. She's an HR expert with 20 years of progressive human resource leadership experience in the IT and ITS industry, playing a diverse role across global regions with expertise in the design and implementation of innovative HR, corporate culture, leadership, and talent initiatives with a solution-oriented approach. She has led organizational change and transformation and has worked extensively in global diverse models. With that, a very warm welcome, Shilpa. It is indeed a delight to have you with us today.
Thank you, Baisak.
So, Shilpa, to start off with today's discussion, my first question to you would be to set in the context at a much broader scale. So, if I may ask, according to you and your industry demands, what type of skill shortage do you think is causing the recent the ongoing talent war? What's your take on that?
Yeah, so we are a technology company, and the shortage of tech talent is not a new problem. In fact, we have identified it over a decade ago. We express the concern over the dearth of this talent for digital roles. But during COVID, I think it accelerated the skill gap, and there is no end in sight. So basically, we being a technology organization, I mean, all the cutting edge technology like artificial intelligence, data analytics, data science, machine learning, RPA, cloud applications like Azure, AWS, Oracle, these are all emerging technologies. And that every country and every IT industry needs to catch up. So these are basically, and every organization, I mean, every tech industry is fighting this talent war. So we are in the same space, and we are also equally fighting the same talent war.
I guess it's one of the situation, as you mentioned, like probably all the tech companies are going through right now. So Shilpa, I'm kind of interested to know that when we talk about, the workforce, so as we can see that, gradually we are moving forward to a very gig economy. So what are some of the most prominent challenges organizations in India face to utilize the gig economy at its full potential? What do you think?
Today we are in the era where, the company no longer, stick with the full-time employees, and the gig economy is actually, becoming more and more important in every organization. So like any other organization, so we have also hired a lot of, consultant contract employees, and that gives us a lot of freedom. So as in India, I mean, one of the biggest, the challenges that organizations are facing in this gig economy is basically, there is a lack of clarity in the legal framework. So there is no clear legal framework for gig workers in India. And it becomes very difficult for organizations like us to define their rights and obligations. The second one I would say is inconsistency in the quality of work. Since gig workers are no subject to the same standard and oversight of our internal employees, the quality of the work can vary widely. So sometimes you also see that there is inconsistency, that makes it difficult for the organization on relying on a big time, gig employees for critical tasks. The other thing that I would say is limited access to technology. So many gig workers here in India do not have access to the technology and infrastructure, needed to perform their work very efficiently and effectively. The other thing I would say is a lack of trust and accountability. So today, I mean, the moonlighting is something which has become a very hot topic and talk of the town. So since gig workers are, they generally often works remotely and not subject to same level of oversight as our internal employees, sometimes it becomes a challenge for organization to establish that trust and accountability. So we don't know whether they are fully 100% committed to our organization, or they're working with, some other organization. The other thing that I can think of is, payment and taxation issue, because the payment and taxation issue can be one of the significant challenge, because there is a lack of clarity around the tax liability for both the organization and the gig workers.
I have already mentioned quite some interesting points, and as in the very beginning, you mentioned that when it comes to gig workers, a critical obstacle is that there is no clear legal policies. There is no clarity to some extent. There are certain areas where we still need clarity. So, if I may, like ask you, since you mentioned that in your organization also you have kind of started following the same pattern. So, how is your organization providing a better workplace policies for these gig workers to kind of give them the same opportunities, say, as to your regular workforce? If you can share some initiatives with us that you have undertaken.
We have started something called as a resident entrepreneurship program. So there are a lot of people during the COVID, who started their own startups, the technology guys, and they've been a failed entrepreneurs. So that's where we have given, considering, the earlier question where we are fighting, the talent war. I think this has actually given us a good chance to, hire these gig workers. Basically, in terms of resident entrepreneurship, it is actually giving them a chance to become an entrepreneurship. So once we give them a chance to become an entrepreneurship, I think that has worked really well for us. In fact, we designed their package in such a way where we give them a huge deferred pay. So we give them a fixed, and the deferred pay is based on the milestone basis. So we also award the bonuses, after hitting every milestone and contributing to overall team's goal. Then whatever the safety policy which is applicable to our regular employees, it gets applicable to them as well. We also give them the medical insurance coverage, health benefits, welfare benefits, what is actually applicable to our normal employees. So we make them feel as a part of our company. We also give them access to the company's learning and development. While we have our own LMS, we give them access to our internal, LMS, Coursera, Udemy, all these licenses we have paid for it, and they get an access to upskill themselves. And at the same time, all happy hours or invitation to hear our all guest speakers, engagement. So we also make them a part of all of these valuable engagement activities that happen internally. And as a part of rewards and recognition, we also make them eligible to be a part of this rewards and recognition.
Great to hear that. I believe it's a very thin line that you have drawn between the regular employees as well as the gig workers. It's amazing to know how, as an organization, you're pulling up the socks to give them the same feeling to these employees. So, Shilpa, this kind of brings me to my next as well as last question. So, when we are talking about gig workers, as you mentioned that they are working remotely. And if I take into account how the post-pandemic, the entire workforce ecosystem has changed, it's more of a hybrid kind of setup that organizations are following nowadays. So if I may ask that, how are your employee engagement strategies working, especially when we talk about this remote and hybrid work setup?
Pandemic has actually helped us, going into a complete hybrid model as a technology organization, because our workforce is spread all across the globe. And in this hybrid setup, I think what is more important to remain connected. And the only way we can remain connected in the hybrid model is through technology. We strategically use technology for, like example, Teams. So we have given access to all our employees on the technology where we can remain connected, and all the engagement activities which happen through technology. The other thing is we foster a social interaction. So that is another, through social hours, video chats, and virtual team building activities. So we also have those mentoring sessions, through this social chat. We show employees our care. So we build a very meaningful relationship with our remote employees and give them a permission to create a balance. So we respect that time by setting up, the healthy boundaries around schedules, assignments, and performance expectations. And also we make them the time to chat with their, family and personal attributes and all of that. We also ask for and listen to a feedback. So we communicate with employees when they take actions, on their feedback. So they know that they have been heard and their opinions are valued. When employee feels valued, I think they are much more happier and more engaged at work. So we also don't shy away from giving a very constructive feedback also. So this also gives an employee and, a chance and advantage of development, developing themselves. We recognize every employee contribution. So remote employees tend to put in more hours than their normal office counterpart. And we all have realized that. So, but they often don't feel as a part of the team. So one solution is to make employee recognition is our priority. So we leverage a lot of online, recognition platform to give every employee an ability to view and comment and give recognition in real time. So that is one thing. Then we also keep them in the know. So it's important to keep our employees updated on projects, goals, team progress, company news. So we keep having all of these all hands, town halls to keep them updated with all that which is happening within the organization. So we also use a very employee friendly goal setting and tracking mechanism, so that they are also aware about their progress, new projects. We support their newest hires. We conducted a very good onboarding platform, where we can onboard them remotely. So information like login credential, document access, clear training on process and technology. So this is all we do it, for all our new hires through remote working. So I think these are few of the things that I can think of.
I actually love the fact that, if you just take a look back 2 years ago, when companies were grappling as to, this complete new setup, and the way we talk nowadays, how smoothly companies have transitioned into that, new system altogether. It's lovely to actually see how organizations have actually adapted themselves. And I believe we have a long way to go from here. So it was really amazing listening to you, Shilpa, and that kind of wraps up our conversation also for today. I would like to thank you once again for sharing such fantastic knowledge with us. And as I mentioned, it was absolute pleasure conversing with you today. So once again, for our audiences, thank you for joining us today. We'll be back with yet another exciting conversations next week. Till then, stay safe, everyone, and keep talking.
Thanks, Pesach.
Thank you, Shilpa. Have a great day.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.